But first, let's talk about what's hot now. All right, we're beginning with a very disturbing incident at a South Carolina high school yesterday, caught on a cell phone. Take a look at this. And let me tell you what we know about this, and there's a lot we don't know. We don't know what happened right before that cell phone turned on. We know that was an officer who worked at the school, the student African-American. She had been told by her teacher, apparently, to leave the room to go see the discipline office because I don't know what she had done, any of that. Then he was brought in when she refused. He told her she would be put under arrest if she didn't leave. She just sat there, and then he said, "You're under arrest." And then that happened, which seems excessive to me.
Yeah,
but the FBI is investigating. What do you guys think?
It's
Just looking at the
excessive.
video.
We've been seeing this too much, this excessive force once again. If she's going to get arrested, arrest her. There's protocol in arresting. Handcuff her. You know, there's a way you can do the wrist where it gets her up. You don't have to slam her against a wall.
I'm kind of interested that nobody's reacting. Are they afraid? I mean, where's the teacher?
But I'm saying people get paralyzed in certain situations. As you watch the video, we're all shocked. It's scary. It's intimidating. I don't know what I would do if I was a teacher. We don't know if there's a protocol to be followed, if you call security office, if there's something going on. We don't know what happened. It is excessive, but here's one question I want to ask everyone here. When a cop or someone tells you, or authority tells a kid to do something, why aren't the kids listening? Why didn't she just get up and walk out? Like, we don't know what's wrong with her, if there's something mentally unstable about her or something, but it's not listening to her. It is excessive.
Even if that's the case.
It's excessive. I do not condone what he did at all, but it sparks a bigger discussion about following rules a little bit.
And I watched all of the audience watch that video, and I think when we watched the video, you know, some of you had to look away because it's so disturbing to watch anybody use that kind of force with an adult, but certainly with a child. And it's heartbreaking that this is happening in our classrooms. And, you know, we talked yesterday, I think, off the air about, you know, policing people with cell phones. This is a situation where I'm so happy that that cell phone was there because now we can see what's happening. And apparently and allegedly, this officer has used force in the past.
Yes.
Okay? So if he's used force in the past and he hasn't been disciplined, thank God for the kids that had those cell phones so we know what's happening in this classroom and he's disciplined appropriately.
But you could tell when this cop walked into the classroom, you could see he was posturing. That's just the walk over to the girl. You knew he was just wanted to do something.
I think the issue here also is that, and one of the things that I'm really tired of, especially as being a Black American, is that minorities in general, when they deal with children who are minorities, it's excessive force right off the bat. There's no trying to communicate. I mean, he didn't do anything. He just went for her like she was a grown man that was attacking him. And it was very disturbing for me to watch. I could not watch it because I'm in a reality of like, that could have been my daughter. And if somebody did that to my daughter, I would be very upset.
And why couldn't he? I mean, he just arrived to the classroom. So you don't have class that day.
That's part of the video that we don't see, though.
But he just came in. You talked to the person. Okay, you wanted to make it go fast so the kids could have class. Who cares if it took an hour to get her out of that classroom?
He has been removed, clearly, and the school administration is very disturbed, and the FBI has been asked to investigate. So we'll learn more, and when we do know more, we'll obviously let you know as well. All right, switching gears here. Donald Trump, the gift that keeps on giving, I tell you, right? Yesterday at a Pancakes and Politics town hall rally in New Hampshire, Trump told Matt Lauer that he has had his own challenges in life. I want to read to you what he said. Okay, but bear with me. Okay. My whole life really has been a no, and I fought through it. It has not been easy for me, and you know, it started off in Brooklyn. Yay, Brooklyn. My father gave me a small loan of $1 million. Well, Trump conceded that getting $1 million loan from his father might seem easy to most people because Matt called him out on that. But he said $1 million isn't very much compared to what I've built. And in fairness to Donald, I'm just going to stand up to him for a minute, that is his reality. He was born to a wealthy family, so $1 million maybe in that family was not what it would be to most of us. And he did build an empire with it.
First of all, when I left home, I got a prayer cloth and some anointing oil. Okay? So good that he got $1 million. But what makes me nervous about Donald Trump and the position that he is possibly going to be in is that if you think $1 million is not a lot and look what I've done, how can you relate to somebody who's making $5 an hour and you're going to look at them and say, why can't you?
He doesn't have empathy.
people who are making lower wages than him.
But you
If
can't
he has
assume-
that kind of high expectation of what $1 million is,
No,
he's
but
definitely going to look down at people and say,
Yamaneika,
I
what
did it
you're
with $1
not
million.
understanding
Why can't
is
you
that
do it with $5?
That is his reality, and you can't punish him for his
I
privilege.
didn't say I was punishing him. I'm just saying I don't know how he's going to react
with
to
somebody
the
that
rest
doesn't
of the
have
world.
money.
The rest of the world
Listen,
didn't get
I'm
$1
the
million
least-
pot.
Listen, I have never said one positive thing about Donald Trump on this panel. But again, I can't punish him for his upbringing and for the fact that he was born into a well-to-do family.
And I don't think people are judging him for that.
Right,
I don't think people are
absolutely.
judging him.
I wasn't doing it at
I think
all.
99% of America is saying you can't relate to me because he doesn't understand that what it's like to not
most
to have
politicians-
sleepless nights from borrowing money. He has always had a safety cushion. Most America has
failed
never
at it,
had a
I've
safety
I've
cushion.
never had a sleepless night like that, but I can relate to it.
Empathize.
I can totally empathize.
Absolutely.
He had a fallback. So this is the thing. We applaud Donald Trump. He's an amazing businessman. But he always had something to fall back on. And this is where I think what Lance and what Yamaneika are saying is, people in middle America, a small business owner who fails and defaults on a loan, has no one to fall back on. He could have it makes him look unrelatable.
Absolutely, and
That's what I
especially
think
the
we're both
person that
getting.
works
It's
at McDonald's who's making $5 an hour. It's that idea of saying, look what I did with $1 million. Why can't you? Of course, you had $1 million. It may not be a lot to you, but it's a lot of money
That
to
is the
fall back
American
on.
dream for everybody. That's the American dream for everybody,
And
though,
it's
that
right,
they
and you
work
can't-
really
and you
hard
can't
and they make a
fault
lot
them.
of money.
The
That's
American dream
but
is
then once you
everybody
make
can
it, you're
start with $1 million,
penalized
but they
from it.
don't start
And
there. I'm
by the
talking
way,
about the reality
let's
of
be
it.
okay. Let's talk reality. When you think about a lot of very successful politicians, most of them do come from a privileged background. So if we're going to apply this to Donald Trump, let's call out every politician who comes from a
people
privileged
do, but I
family.
think the
a lot
average
of them
American,
are very
Everyone,
empathetic.
but I
Not
think
all
the
of
average
them.
American wants
No,
their
not all of them, but many
they want their
are.
president to be more relatable, and that's why everyone's upset with this comment.
I agree with.
You can't judge him for his privilege, but this comment
It's
rubbed
his
people the
hair
wrong
that
way.
makes him unrelatable.
Yes.
That's what makes him unrelatable. All right, anyway. He made an interesting comment at the same town hall rally about women in the Middle East who are it's raising some eyebrows. He was talking about American intervention in the Middle East. And he said, here we go there, and they really don't want us, and they're comfortable with the way they live. And he was mentioning burqas. And he said the women there, they want to wear burqas. He said, why not? It's easy. You don't have to put on makeup. Now, he said he was joking. But is that
It
the
is
kind
a
of humor
joke.
that will help him or hurt? Now, you immediately thought, that's just
Look,
funny.
it's a joke.
Doesn't mean
I mean, he's not a comedian, but can't we all joke every once in a while? At least he wasn't,
But he jokes,
saying something
his
really
jokes
negative
fall
about
flat, Lance. His jokes, he
Well,
picks,
they do. He's
he
not a
picks
comedian.
on people.
Right, and let me go back to my original position on Donald Trump, which is I'm not a fan. But clearly, he has never really interacted with a lot of Middle Eastern women, because if you know a lot of Muslim women, you know that their makeup is always on fleek. Okay, those women know how to work a liner and a lash. So he's just ignorant. It's an ignorant statement. If he was a joke, it just wasn't that funny.
I don't want to say that. Well, I don't think Donald Trump is ignorant, because I think he says a lot of smart things. I think he's had to be a smart businessman, But I do think we don't know when he's joking and when he's being serious. So that's the problem. I want my president to be serious when he needs to be serious, and when he's telling a joke, I want to know that you're telling a joke.
When he's called on something, then he will say, "Oh, I was only kidding." So that's I think why you get the confusion.
Backpedal a little bit. You want consistency in a president. You want a president who consistently is on point. And I think he's just all over the place, which is it's working for him, I guess.
Lindsey Graham, who's doing, I don't know what his percentage is in the polls, but it's really low, Senator Graham. So he was on Morning Joe, and he had this to say about Carson and Donald Trump, who are the frontrunners. He said, on our side, we've got the number 2 guy who tried to kill someone at 14, that's Carson, and the number 1 is high energy and crazy as hell. How am I losing to these people? So Lindsey Graham's like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
It just shows the extremities of politics, though. They like the highs and the highs.
Well, I mean, it's the highs and the lows, but listen, Ben Carson keeps trying to tell everybody that he's so hood, like he was a jet in West Side Story. He was not doing all of that stuff. He's trying to get
He's lying about that stuff?
He's a neuroscientist. You think he was
think
out
he's
there
embellishing
gangbanging
a
at 14? He was in the book so that he could do what he was. Absolutely. Look at him. He ain't never gangbanged.
But there have been many stories of people who came from very bad situations and their lives turned around.
Success stories.
Yeah.
He is a success story, maybe.
There were the 3
That's what he
doctors
wants
from
you to
Jersey.
think.
You know the story about they wrote a book, and all of them were in gangs, I believe. They were headed way down south, and they pulled themselves together as a group, and all 3 of them became doctors. So I think this could be the same thing. This could be the same thing.
Well, then I was in a gang
But they all
also.
try
The
to
big
paint a
girls.
picture of something they're really not.
Glamour magazine celebrates its Woman of the Year, and this year the rumor is that Caitlyn Jenner is being considered for the honor, and it's cause. Is that a oh no or oh interesting? No, it's interesting. Okay, interesting you say no, because well-known feminist and author Germaine Greer agrees with you. She's opposed to this, but she says that it's because she doesn't really believe that Jenner is a woman at all.
Well,
and he's
there's
just
the
trying to
problem right
steal
there.
the limelight from the Kardashians. She's saying, I'm not saying that people should not be allowed to go through the sex change procedure. What I'm saying is that it doesn't make them a woman, so therefore she doesn't qualify to be Woman of the Year.
So Meredith,
There are women.
Meredith, I have to ask you then. I need to know what makes a woman. How are we defining woman? Because she has a vagina, or like she feels like a woman. She is a woman. She's a transgender woman. So I think
Well,
she
didn't we
deserves
all
this
just
right.
get educated this year about transgender?
Yes.
And if a transgender woman is a woman,
she
it's a
made
woman.
that
It's a
happen.
woman.
I think she should qualify to be considered, but I don't think she should be
I think
Woman
she
of
should
the
be
Year.
considered too. I mean, if we're saying she's a woman, and it's not the woman of a lifetime, I'm talking about 2015.
Well, there's a lot of women that could be
You know?
considered in this position, and I think it's a
Who?
lot. Well, I think it's a lot of sensationalism. Is she being nominated because of the sensationalism around her, or because she's a woman of
No,
the
I
year?
think she had a huge movement for women. You're talking
She had a
about
huge movement for
feminism.
transgender.
This is
That's what
this is the new feminism for 2015. It's transgender women. It is.
No, it is, but you also
You might not agree with it or believe that a transgender woman is a woman, and the only
No, I
people
don't
that are
think that
against
he's a
it.
woman. I'm just saying.
I'm not
it's
sure that makes her Woman of the Year.
Why not?
But
Why
here's the
not?
thing
If
about
she
the
is a
glamour-
woman and she created this huge, the biggest dialogue
Yes,
of the
on a
year,
topic. I believe that.
then
not
how is
just
she
one
not
woman.
considered?
I think
dialogue
she
for
should
many,
be
many years.
considered. I would not give her the award.
But who's-
that person.
who-
Okay,
had more of a movement?
can I just say one quick thing?
Who had more of a movement this
No,
year?
but what we're not calling out is the fact that last year at the Glamour Women of the Year Awards, Laverne Cox was also honored as a Woman of the Year, and there wasn't this huge backlash about her being honored.
The
So
only reason is
why
because she
are
was
we
a
having
Jenner.
an
backlash
actress
against
and also
Caitlyn?
an advocate and an actress is not this sensationalism around Laverne.
Caitlyn's also
But
an
let's
athlete.
also remember.
what happens.
But
They
let's
haven't-
also remember this is not on Caitlyn Jenner. This is Glamour bringing this up. This is
Exactly.
not Caitlyn being
No,
like,
she
I'm
didn't-
Woman
yes.
of the Year. So
Absolutely.
let's
So
not
it's
blame.
Fair
Caitlyn.
enough. She didn't start the hoopla.